How can you come to India and not travel in an auto rickshaw? We are going to Bhairav Mandir. Dogs. This is basically the Bhairav temple. And then you never look back. After our return from the mystical boat ride and a short break, we left our guest house to visit two important temples. One was the Bhairava temple, and the other was the Kashi Vishwanath temple. Both these were in the heart of Kashi. How can you come to India and not travel in an auto rickshaw? But this is a shared auto. I'm sharing it with just my in-laws. So this is similar to a tuk-tuk in Rishikesh. So let's see how that goes. Ideal for short distances, an auto rickshaw is invaluable in India. The ride may not be very pleasant for those used to being in the privacy and silence of air-conditioned cars. However, it helps one experience the pulse of Indian city traffic and streets. The auto driver effortlessly navigates through city traffic, sometimes dangerously, and the ride shakes every bone in your body. But all in all, it's fun. As long as the distance traveled is short and you have not had too much to eat. This is how it is. So we are going to Bhairav Mandir temple, and after that we'll be going to the boss Kashi Vishwanath temple. Today is Ashtami, and I consider it doubly fortunate to be able to do that. These little gullies have been in place for thousands of years. You see these pathways. These have always been in place. And here you see, because it is devoted to Bhairav, the time aspect of Shiva. If you thought only cows are worshipped in India, you're wrong. Look at this. We have these dogs that are also worshipped. I don't think I can take camera, so I am going to shut it off here. But this is basically the temple. Let me see. This is basically the Bhairav temple. This is it. This is it.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Behind me is the Bhairava temple, and I just went in and came. The crowd was the temple is very tiny, so even if there are some 400-500 people, it's really packed. But again, there is noise, chaos, but that is the whole magic of being in a powerful spiritual energy. It awakens you. It touches something very deep and very core within you. So it's an experience that I can't explain. So I'll just leave it for you to experience it sometime. But what a great experience. Bhairav is the time element of Shiva. Time is merciless, right? So he is a deity and energy that is feared generally. But time is also precious. Time is valuable. Time is very dear to you if you know how to manage time. So like all energies, if you understand the energy of time, you have Bhairav waiting to serve you. So he's also considered very graceful and benign and benevolent. So that is the energy of time, as I explained. So much for Bhairav. I'm trying to find my way and do this blog to make it realistic. So now we are headed through these gullies to Kashi Vishwanath's temple, like I said, the big boss. So look what the priest tied on my wrist. So apparently it's supposed to ward off evil. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And so we are headed to Kashi Vishwanath, the main temple around which everything around Kashi is built. Again, of course, there's no way I can take any camera there. Try and take it as close as possible. We have a very good guide here, Sanjeev. His name is Sanjeev. Aapka last name?
Sanjeev Mukherjee.
Sanjeev Mukherjee. He is staying with us at the guest house, and he is taking us around. Wonderful gentleman. Without him, we'll be completely lost here. So he helps us get the right autos, play the right fare, and not overpay anything. So it's been a great experience so far. It's exhausting, but spiritually so vibrant, so vibrant. It's amazing. Om Namah Shivaya. अरे ये खाना है ना?
ज़्यादा नहीं ले सकते भैया.
Okay, so this is like close to a whipped cream kind of concept. They make it only in the winters here. It's very very rich. मेरे लिए एक बना दो, इनको शेयर कर दो.
आप खाओ. हाँ. इनके लिए एक बना दीजिए. हमारे लिए छोटे में. हाँ, ये उनको दीजिए. हाँ. हमारे लिए इसमें दीजिए बस. बहुत आपके लिए. आप लीजिए.
So, as long as I'm in Kashi for a week, I'm not taking any other food other than milk products like this, and fruits. So, this is going to be a treat, I guess. I asked him, is there any sugar? He said, lightly sugared. I tasted a little bit. I couldn't taste much sugar. So, this is pure whipped cream. It's fluffy. Yeah, it's the most authentic.
It's just so light.
Yeah, it's extremely light and wonderful. So this is the famous Vishwanath Gully, as they call it. One of these little lanes, tiny lanes that lead all the way to the temple. We're just going to be at a small crossing, and then that becomes the Vishwanath Gully. So you see, you have shops for everything here. Most of them are not opened yet, so they open around 11ish something. The time now is about 10:30, 10:40. So this is going to the epicenter, if you will, of Varanasi, or Kashi as it is called. The word Kashi comes because of Kash, Prakash. So it's a place which gives light, spiritual light and energy. So if Shaivism was born, it is in these kind of places like Chidambaram in the south and all these places. So this is a place where we can leave our footwear and our cameras and stuff like that. So I'm going to leave everything here and then head out. If you see, this is a place Mangla and Guru are leaving their watch and everything. Okay, so it's exciting. Let's see how this goes. Om Namah Shivaya. Our visit to the Kashi Vishwanath temple was in March 2020. At this time, major renovations around the temple were in progress. Since that time, a magnificent renovation has taken place. This new and improved temple surrounding was inaugurated in December 2021. So we just got out of the Baba Vishwanath Mandir. The experience is something I've never had before, anything like this. The crowd was so much, it was so intense, as words cannot describe how intense it was. So I just had probably a second of the darshan and I was grabbed and pushed out. So it's like a Kundalini awakening, if you will. So that is how intense it was. I hope I'm going to go try it again and see if I can at least touch the lingam and have a little more darshan. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night, I don't know. I'm not happy, but I'm grateful that at least I got a glimpse. I believe you get what you deserve, and I think I deserve just a glimpse of the Shivlingam. But the experience is phenomenal. It is so intense and exhausting on one side, and it's so spiritually intense on the other side. I mean, I can't even explain. Words fail me. walking down the streets of Varanasi is quite an experience. I watched these on YouTube before coming here just to kind of familiarize myself, but the videos don't do any justice to the actual experience. The crowds are, oh my gosh, you got to watch every step of your way in these little roads. And the road that was near the temple is actually 1/10 of the size of this road. If you think this was narrow, you can imagine how narrow that was, where there was no cameras or anything was allowed. But I guess you got a glimpse of it as we were entering. It gets narrower and narrower. And then of course the courtyard of that temple will stay with me forever. There's a lot of construction going on because it's very adjacent to a mosque, incidentally. So there's a lot of new constructions coming up. Either they're expanding or something, so that added to the intensity. And so I take it as, when you come to these places, the energy is so powerful that around it there will be this kind of commotion, if you will. Commotion is in our mind, right? Commotion, intensity, crowd, you get pushed and pulled. The experience is physically extremely uncomfortable. But that's the whole point. That's the whole point of this spiritual experience. Who promised comfort in this journey? Nobody did, right? We are hoping that, sitting with Shiva, peacefully meditating. This is our idea of what is quiet and peace. Equanimity was tested. I'm just rambling because there's so much energy. This morning I had a darshan of Kashi Vishwanath. Like I said, right, the big boss. I went to see him, I was very excited. But the crowds were so much that it was just literally testing everything that I had learned to the limits. And when I actually went there, the energy, of course, like I said earlier, the energy is amazing, it's so intense that you don't go there to expect any calm, sitting in front of the Shiva peacefully and doing all that stuff. So it's a very different experience. And so when I went in, literally I was pushed in rather, because there were hundreds of people all around me. And I barely got to see him, like barely, just like a second. And an army guy yanked me, held my arm and just yanked me out of the temple. He said, okay. I said, I have not even seen him properly. He said, chalo, get out. So at one point I don't know, that was my very first experience. Let me stop here. I was just talking peacefully in one place. A group of young girls came, sat like 5 feet away from me, and they started talking. And anyway, I don't know where I was. Okay, so yeah, the first darshan was very intense for me. It was like, it reminded me, it was very, let me put it in one word and then tell you what I was reminded of. It was very humbling, extremely humbling, because of my personal experiences with the Shiva consciousness, Shiva, and generally in other temples. It was very, I was expecting at least like a sign, an omen, a beautiful darshan, if you will. A few minutes, I was not asking much, just maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute of just being there in peace. tuning into that energy, feeling that connection. That's what you want, right? That's what you hope to get in these temples, because these temples are reflections of your inner spirit. And the more I was getting closer to this place, it became so intense that I had a tough time just saying, keep your focus on Shiva, nothing else. Nothing else matters. But when I went there and I just had barely a glance, I was yanked out. Now, in states and elsewhere, if somebody does that to you, you would sue them because they have no rights to touch you physically. This was physically being pushed out, grabbed by your arm and thrown out of the altar. That was my experience. I have to be honest. It was humiliating for me to be treated like that. But it was the great lesson in equanimity. I mean, that is what it is all about, right? When we're going to learn about the prerequisites, that is, it's not a prerequisite to me. It's like an ongoing learning, the 4 pillars, if you will, that sustains the Vedic learning, the yoga learning, the Vedanta learning, keeps you on the student path. Humility is a virtue we talk about, we practice it when it's convenient for us. But it is demanded of us in some of these places without notice. You're not told, okay, you've got to be humble, be ready. It just comes, pop. And then you're like, oh gosh, I have to learn that too. And so it was a very humbling, and I said the negative part was that I felt a little humiliated, but that's how it was. I came back very energized, of course, because of the whole experience. I don't know if I said something like this earlier in the morning because I was just blabbering into the camera. When I came out of the temple, I was in a daze because even that one glimpse was so powerful. There is something about that place, something which one has to only experience. And so it was like that. It was like that awakening of the Kundalini experience that I had imagined. It was 100 times more than my first interview with Sai Baba, when I was so nervous and so scared standing in front of that energy right in front of me. But there was just me and him, right? There was not this crowd and all of that. So that was an immense, it was very filled with grace, and that I can't even bring that to this comparison. I think it'll be comparing apples and oranges. But I'm thinking of all those moments which could have been similar to this, and I can't find any at this point. Something so intense. Even Kedarnath, when I was there, it wasn't this intense. There was a lot of grace and blessing. It was amazing. Even though in spite of the rain and all of that, he made me work for it, I guess, and it was a very, very beautiful experience. This was very intense, and I think it will stay there. It's going to be like that forever. Anyway, so I came back in the afternoon and I was thinking, what the heck is this? Is this what it is all about? Let me walk and talk. Hopefully I'll get something. So I was thinking, is this what it's going to be like? I mean, where is that? I didn't get that one-on-one connection. I always want to see that one-on-one connection, feel that one-on-one with the deity in the temple. I want to establish that link, and that's the link I can carry with me. That is the link I pray for, transcribing into the Shivlinga that I have. And so I didn't experience that. And I was thinking, oh my God, do I have to go through this whole thing again to do just this 1 second? I mean, how is it going to work for me? It didn't make. I asked people, I asked in the shops, when is a good time to come? They said it's going to be crowded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is how it is. It closes at 11 o'clock in the night. It opens at 3 in the morning, I guess, 3 to 4. They have Aarti, offering of sorts. So I came back in the afternoon. I was so tired. I had to come and just crash. So just when I went to the nap, I said, Shiva, what is this going on? Give me a break. Give me something, right? And so I woke up. I spoke to the hotel manager. I said, I just got a 1 second darshan, barely a second. So, is there any way I can get a longer darshan? How about touching the lingam? And it was same with Mangala and Guru were with me. They were all tired. He said, let me see, I'll find out. And I went back, and throughout a part of me is still in tune with this energy of this place, with Shiva, which has always been, but it's more intense here. I can be very, very mindful of it. He came back in 5 minutes. He said, a priest says that you can come right now, and if you come right now, he will be able to take you in and you can touch the lingam. I said, can I stay there 30 seconds? He said, I don't know, but go ahead. And this is what it is. So I told Mangala, she said, okay. And both of us jumped into an auto with a guy who would take us around. And then we went. We went to the place, and that pandit, whoever, they have all these pandits who will take you inside. You just can't decide to walk in. I mean, you can, but you're going to be so lost if you don't know the place. So it's a very different experience. So anyway, this pandit was waiting. He took us, young boy, Mithilesh Pandey, and then he took us in. This time when I went in, the crowd was like 1/10 of what I experienced in the morning. It was just like a brief window I got, literally. They said, you're coming at the right time. Before the crowd starts, we got a small window. Go quickly, buy the ticket and come and I'll take you in. And the pandit said, whatever you want to offer me is fine. I don't have anything. So we said, okay, take us in. And so he took us in. We walked right through like royalty. There was like hardly anything. We just paid 300 rupees a person for a ticket, which is about $5 or something, less than $5. And so the beauty of that was, it wasn't empty, there was still people, but 1/10 of the crowd I experienced in the morning. So when I had a chance to touch the door as I entered, and there he was. Oh gosh. This time, he's about 1 foot in height, I think. You will see probably YouTube videos and Google Kashi Vishwanath Shivling, and you'll see enough pictures taken by others. There are no cameras, nothing is allowed, so I couldn't take anything. But there he was, right inside the ground. And as I neared him, suddenly the space seems to clear. There was this guard who had been pulling people. He was pulling everyone. I'm like, oh, please don't do this again to me. But I kept my focus because I got a glimpse of the Shivling, so I kept my focus on that. And then as I went there, something caught his attention and he actually walked out of the room. So there was nobody there, and I grabbed that opportunity, and it was just me and the Shivling. I bent down. I don't know what Mangala's experience is, but it was similar, I guess. We bent down, and then I placed my hands on the Shivling and just touched it, and then it happened, and the connection, the one-on-one I searching for, I got that. I felt that beautiful. It was like electricity, but it was just an amazing experience touching that particular lingam, which has been here for centuries, which has been worshipped and is continued being worshipped. The amount of chants that go on in that space is amazing. So my heart was so filled with gratitude. I was just there, just sitting there for more than 30 seconds. Nobody disturbed me. I then thought, okay, I have to give others a chance. Can you believe that? I can't even dream of something like that. At least based on what I experienced in the morning, right? And so I was there. I touched the lingam. I couldn't hug it because it was way too deep. But I put both my arms on it, palms, rested it fully, allowed the full energy to bless. And I thought of Kaivalya. I thought of Maya. I thought of everyone. So that was Kashi Vishwanath for me. Now he speaks to me. Now I feel that connection. I feel a sense of belonging. I feel a deep sense of recognition of having been here before. And I say before, it's like probably in past lives. I don't know. It's just a feeling. Everything opened up. Till then, it was about seeing what to see, what not to see, what places are there listed, this, that, and all that. But after I touched the lingam, now my heart is completely open, like in the Himalayas. It's fascinating how that happens. And then now it doesn't matter. I don't get to see him. I don't. When I say him, I mean the lingam. I don't get to see the lingam, I don't get to go there. I'll try and see if I can get one more chance. But there's no expectations, no prayers, nothing, no wish at all. I'm just so content with what happened. I know that energy which I was searching for, I was able to tune into it, and that energy is now opened the doors for me. And that's all I was seeking for. That is the kind of experience you get in these temples. These temples are, to me, they are like mirrors. I go there to, it reflects your progress, if you will, or it reflects your innermost core, what your inner core beliefs are. The temple, when you go there, the experience that you gain, you have to keep your eyes and ears open, listening to how you're being guided. What is your first experience? What is your second experience? How is it taking place? That's the beauty of these energy centers. That's why I call them portals more than just temples with some religious significance. These are portals of big, great energy. I mean, Kashi is that kind of energy where every king, every teacher, every yogi, every rishi, every sadhu for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, have been drawn to this place. Every king has built there are so many ghats here. Every king has got some kind of a ghat or some kind of a place, built a temple for either Kali, the Shakti principle, or Shiva principle, and so on. It's all, they are, not everybody is not fools, right? So this place has been drawing people for so long. That is how powerful this place is. And therefore, to be here, to be bathed in this energy itself is a great experience. And to be in that temple, even if it's for a few seconds, oh my gosh, it changes you forever. It just, I don't know, like I said, I'm just completely no words to explain that experience of Shiva. Shiva consciousness is such a beautiful thing. When we go to a temple and we find it extremely crowded, extremely uncomfortable, like the powerful energy center in Tirupati in South India, in Kashi here in Banaras. These are not simply places where people of blind faith go to, right? Something is drawing them, some belief, something, history maybe, whatever the cause, doesn't matter. The point is, the learning, I'm continuing to learn this in the last 10 years that I've been visiting temples. Because in Puttaparthi, when I stayed with Sai Baba, I didn't visit temples. I didn't have to. I'm staying 24 hours in the holiest of all places, Prashanti Nilayam, with my guru, so there was no need, right? But after coming out, I went to the US, and now it's in the last 10 years or so, and especially after having started Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam, the call has come to revisit these temples for whatever reason. I don't know how these things happen. I noticed that it's very tempting to avoid crowded times. It's very tempting to avoid crowds in temples. And it's very, to me, and I'm talking from my point of view, and I found myself catching myself many times saying, but God, I mean, I can just sit at home and see Him, right? God is in me and all of that. To me, those are philosophies that are born out of convenience, to me, right? I feel when I challenge myself and come to these places, come to these temples, get pushed around and go into that and get this experience of being humbled. Somebody is pushing you, somebody is throwing you around, nobody is asking you, oh, you're from states, or who's your name, or what, nothing. Everybody is equal there. Then the ego doesn't like it. The mind doesn't like it, because everything is thrown in disarray. And therefore, your first reaction is, this is crazy, I don't want to come back here again. This is not the God I was searching for. There is no God here. There's just madness here. There is religious fanaticism and blah blah blah. You label it, and then you go back home and say, this is where I want, or go to a peaceful ghat like this on the banks of the Ganges and say, this is where God is. God is here and God is there too. Your concept of God, what you're searching for. But to me, that experience of discomfort, that experience of putting everything you practiced online, everything you believed, you put it online, and you go there and it's all just squashed. Everything. Equanimity, peace, and all of that, everything comes to a standstill. And if you see chaos there, if you see noise there, if you see people pushing it, that's your experience, that the mind is grasping. That means that is a reflection of that temple. But in the midst of that, you're able to recognize the power, and you're like, that is the calm in the midst of the storm. And the eye of the storm, your focus is just on that. Then the experience is worth it. So if you're coming to places like these, if you see my video and say, I also need to make a trip to Kashi, come, of course. I mean, this is a great place. But be ready to put everything online. Don't come with any expectations. This is a place that will teach you humility. That energy there will teach you that you are nothing. And whatever you're standing as, you're just going to get a few seconds of my darshan. That's the message I got. And that's amazing. I love it. That if that's what I deserve it. At least I got that. And I'm so grateful for that experience. But Indian temples, Hindu temples, especially the old ones, were designed for that. I mean, these people who could build such fantastic architecture and with amazing precision, don't you think they could have made bigger rooms, bigger corridors and bigger things? No, the idea was that finally when you go to that point of awakening, when the Kundalini awakens, when the divinity awakens within you, that's not going to be a comfortable experience. That time is going to be intense, and you have to be ready for intense experience. How do you prepare yourself for intense experience? A temple visit such as this is a preparation. Truly, if you want to really experience what is a Kundalini awakening, what is that divinity when it awakens within me, how does it happen, what am I going to experience? Come to one of these temples and go through this. Go through what I call the darshan. Because you wait in line for hours, and you come all the way, and then what you get is just a fleeting glimpse before you are yanked out of that altar. That fleeting glimpse changes your life. That fleeting moment is all that spirituality is about. That fleeting, that moment, that I don't know how to say that. In that moment, things change. The whole perspective changes. And then you begin to look at things very differently. A change happens there. That's all. It's like a switch. Once the switch comes on, then the lights can come on and the fan slowly begins to rotate and gather momentum. But that switch being on is that single moment. That's what happened to me in Kashi Vishwanath today. A switch went on, which I wanted that switch to go on in Kashi. I experienced it, I was excited, but that switch went on. That was so amazing. The deep inner awakenings in meditation, in the path of yoga, in Kaivalya Marga is all about that. That switch has to come on. How will it happen to you? I don't know. I don't think any guru, any God can take you there. You have to figure it out. You get all these inputs, you listen to all this and say, how does that switch turn on within me? Then you reach out. You reach out to the universe with a prayer maybe, or deep in meditation. And then keep your eyes and ears open. You will get guided. And then you feel his hand. And then you never look back.